Throughout life, humans spend nearly 1/3 of their time sleeping. Yet very few truly understand what happens during those hours. When you close your eyes, your body remains still in bed. Your heart continues to beat, and your breathing goes on. Yet your sense of self seems to disappear completely. Consciousness temporarily disconnects from the world around you, then suddenly returns the next morning. Some nights, 8 hours pass in what feels like the blink of an eye. Other times, you wake up with a strange dream, still vivid in your mind. Sometimes, you may even feel as though you have just returned from a familiar place you cannot name. This mysterious experience has made people ask questions for thousands of years. Philosophers, theologians, and scientists have all tried to solve this mystery. When we sleep, are we simply resting, or is the mind taking a much deeper journey? In today's video, we will explore remarkable scientific discoveries to answer a question that seems familiar yet remains deeply mysterious. When you fall asleep each night, where do you really go? Most of us have been taught that sleep is simply the time when the body rests after a long day. That idea sounds reasonable, but science shows that the truth is far more complex. Imagine the lives of our human ancestors tens of thousands of years ago. When night fell, falling asleep meant losing the ability to watch, react, and defend themselves against constant dangers. An animal that slept too deeply could become prey within seconds. If the only purpose of sleep were to conserve energy, evolution could have developed a much safer solution. For example, the body could rest while the brain remained alert enough to detect nearby threats. Yet that is not what happened. Instead, nature requires every living creature to enter an extremely vulnerable state for several hours at a time. This suggests that sleep must provide a benefit so valuable that the body is willing to sacrifice its safety in order to achieve it. So what could be important enough to justify such a trade-off? To find the answer, we need to take a closer look at what happens inside the brain from the very moment you close your eyes and begin to drift into sleep. As soon as you begin to fall asleep, your brain does not suddenly switch off as many people believe. Instead, it enters a carefully organized journey made up of repeating cycles that continue throughout the night. The first stage is called non-REM sleep. During this phase, your heart rate slows, your body temperature drops, and your brain waves become more regular. This is when your body focuses on repairing cells, strengthening the immune system, and restoring tissues that have been worn down during the day. However, that is only part of the story. After deep sleep, the brain suddenly shifts into REM sleep, short for rapid eye movement. If you watch someone during this stage, you will notice their eyes moving rapidly beneath their closed eyelids. Even more remarkably, the brain's electrical activity is almost as intense as it is when you are awake. The brain uses a large amount of energy to process information, create vivid images, and produce realistic dreams. At the same time, it sends signals down the spinal cord to temporarily disable almost all voluntary muscles. This mechanism prevents the body from acting out the events taking place in dreams. If you dream that you are running or fighting, your body will remain safely still in bed. Sometimes, this process lingers for a few seconds after you wake up. Your consciousness has returned, but your muscles have not yet been released. This phenomenon is known as sleep paralysis. Many people mistake it for something supernatural, when in reality it is simply a brief delay between the brain and the body's motor system. If you enjoy psychology and science that uncover the fascinating mysteries of the human mind, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss our new videos, published every day. When people hear that the brain remains highly active during sleep, many find it hard to believe. We often think of sleep as a time when everything slows down. In reality, it is only the body that fully rests. The brain continues working quietly with remarkable intensity. During every REM cycle, billions of neurons constantly exchange signals with one another. They organize information, connect memories, and regulate countless essential functions. This process consumes a significant amount of oxygen and energy, showing that the brain is far from inactive. Instead, it enters what may be its most important shift of the day. Every experience you have while awake leaves traces within the brain. If that information is not processed in time, it would quickly become disorganized. That is why the brain uses sleep to sort, organize, and prepare everything for the day ahead. In many ways, sleep is like the maintenance period of an incredibly complex system. You cannot see the work being done, but the results become obvious when you wake up. A good night's sleep often leads to clearer thinking, faster reactions, and better memory. This demonstrates that the brain never truly stops working. It simply switches to a different set of tasks, quietly maintaining the foundation that allows you to think, learn, and adapt to everyday life. Throughout the day, your brain takes in an enormous amount of information without you even realizing it. You see hundreds of faces, hear countless sounds, and absorb countless small details. Every experience creates new connections between neurons. If all of that information were permanently stored, the brain would quickly become overloaded. That is why, while you sleep, an essential filtering process begins. The brain reviews everything that happened during the day and decides what is worth keeping. Less important information, such as the color of a stranger's shirt or a brief conversation, gradually fades away. Meanwhile, new knowledge, recently practiced skills, and meaningful experiences are strengthened and stored more securely. This allows the brain to keep learning efficiently without becoming overwhelmed by unnecessary information. Memory organization is only part of the job. The brain also performs another remarkable task: it cleans itself. During deep sleep, the spaces between brain cells expand, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow more freely. This fluid washes away waste products and metabolic byproducts that have accumulated throughout the day. Many studies suggest that this process may also help reduce the buildup of proteins associated with neurodegenerative diseases. In other words, every night the brain acts as both a data manager and a silent cleaning crew, preparing itself for a healthier and sharper new day. Have you ever had a strange dream or woken up feeling as though you had just returned from an incredible adventure? Share your experience in the comments. I would love to read your story. For thousands of years, people have believed that dreams carry mysterious messages or even predict the future. However, modern neuroscience offers a far more practical explanation. During REM sleep, when the brain is at its most active, it begins connecting old memories with new experiences. At the same time, it processes emotions that were left unresolved while you were awake. This combination creates strange images and stories that may seem illogical but feel incredibly real. Dreams are not random movies created by the mind. They are the brain's way of revealing the hidden process of organizing information behind your conscious awareness. People under intense stress often dream about being late, forgetting an important speech, or failing an important task. Those who have experienced trauma may repeatedly dream about the same event in different forms. These patterns suggest that the brain is trying to organize and ease emotions that remain unresolved. Every dream reflects the brain's unique way of processing information. Although dreams can sometimes seem bizarre, they are a natural part of helping us regulate our emotions, adapt to life, and prepare our minds for the day ahead. No one enjoys having nightmares, but they may serve a far more important purpose than we often realize. When you experience stress, loss, or a major life event, your brain cannot process all of your emotions at once. Instead, those emotions are stored and continue to be worked through while you sleep. That is why many people dream of being chased, falling from great heights, or repeatedly facing situations that frighten them. These disturbing images are not predictions of the future. They are the brain's way of rehearsing and processing unresolved fears and emotional burdens. During REM sleep, the brain creates a safe environment where you can confront intense emotions without facing real-world consequences. Through this process, the intensity of negative feelings can gradually decrease over time. This also explains why, after several nights of sleep, an event that once caused deep emotional pain may no longer feel as overwhelming as it did before. However, if nightmares occur frequently or continue for months, they may be a sign that the brain is still struggling to process trauma or prolonged stress. In such cases, seeking support from a mental health professional is an important step. If this video is helping you better understand how your brain works every night, take a second to hit the like button and support the channel so more people can discover these fascinating insights. Many people believe that a healthy night's sleep should last 7 to 8 uninterrupted hours. So when they wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they often worry that they have insomnia. History, however, tells a very different story. Many historical records suggest that our ancestors once slept in 2 separate phases. They would go to bed shortly after sunset, wake up around midnight, and spend 1 or 2 hours praying, talking, reflecting, or quietly thinking. After that, they would return to sleep until sunrise. This pattern was considered completely normal for centuries. It was only after the arrival of artificial lighting and the Industrial Revolution that people gradually shifted to sleeping in one continuous block to fit fixed work schedules. Today, smartphones, computers, and blue light keep us awake even longer, disrupting our natural biological clock. Our bodies still carry traits shaped by thousands of years of evolution, but our environment has changed much faster than we have. As a result, more and more people struggle to fall asleep, experience poor quality sleep, or wake up feeling exhausted even after spending enough time in bed. Modern sleep has not only become shorter, but it has also been disrupted by the very lifestyle we have come to accept as normal. For thousands of years, humans lived according to the rhythm of the sun. When darkness fell, the body naturally released melatonin to signal that it was time to rest. At sunrise, natural light helped the brain become alert and prepare for a new day. This biological clock was shaped through a long process of evolution and remained largely unchanged. However, over the past few centuries, technology has completely disrupted that natural rhythm. Electric lighting allowed people to stay awake much later than before. Then, smartphones, computers, and other electronic devices extended our exposure to blue light late into the night. This type of light tricks the brain into thinking it is still daytime, delaying the release of melatonin. As a result, it becomes harder to feel sleepy. Bedtime is pushed later, and sleep quality declines significantly. On top of that, social media notifications, text messages, and the endless stream of online content keep the brain in a constant state of alertness even when the body is already exhausted. Many people carry the stress of work straight into bed, leaving the brain with little opportunity to switch into rest mode. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation can affect memory, concentration, emotional well-being, and overall health. The most concerning part is that we often treat these habits as normal, even though they are quietly taking away the essential recovery that the brain needs every single night. Have you ever noticed that a problem which seemed overwhelming at night feels much easier to handle after a good night's sleep? That is not just a subjective feeling, it is a process that has been supported by scientific research. During REM sleep, the brain processes memories linked to strong emotions in an environment where stress hormone levels are much lower than they are when you are awake. This allows the brain to preserve the memory of an event while gradually reducing the intensity of the negative emotions attached to it. You still remember the argument, the criticism, or the loss, but the emotional pain is no longer as overwhelming as before. In a sense, the brain is quietly separating the memory from the suffering so that you can move forward. When this process is repeatedly interrupted by sleep deprivation or staying up late, negative emotions become much harder to process completely. That is why people who do not get enough sleep are often more irritable, anxious, and likely to overreact to minor sources of stress. A good night's sleep cannot erase every challenge in life, but it gives the brain the calmness it needs to face those challenges more effectively. Sometimes, the best thing you can do before dealing with a major problem is not to think harder, but to give yourself a truly restful night's sleep. Each time you wake up, you naturally believe you are the same person you were the night before. In reality, your brain has spent hours quietly adjusting countless neural connections while you slept. Important memories are strengthened, unnecessary information is removed, and many negative emotions gradually become less intense. This ongoing process can change the way you think, feel, and respond after a good night's rest. You have probably experienced being angry with someone at night, only to wake up the next morning feeling calmer and seeing the situation from a different perspective. That does not mean the problem has disappeared. It means your brain has silently processed and reorganized everything you experienced. Your judgment becomes clearer once emotions no longer overpower your reasoning. This remarkable process takes place every single night without you even noticing. Over time, thousands of nights of sleep help shape your personality, habits, and the way you see the world. In that sense, sleep does far more than restore your body. It continuously reshapes the person you are becoming. Every morning is the result of a quiet process of renewal, leaving you with a better organized, calmer brain that is more prepared to face the challenges of a new day. After everything we have explored, the question we began with now has a much clearer answer. Every time you fall asleep, you are not entering a supernatural world or disappearing from reality. Instead, you are entering the most important period for your brain to repair and rebuild itself. In the darkness, billions of neurons work quietly behind the scenes. They reorganize memories, remove unnecessary information, and help resolve emotions that have not yet been fully processed. When the sun rises, you wake up with the same memories, but the way you feel about them may have changed. That is why a good night's sleep often leaves you feeling calmer, clearer, and more energized for the day ahead. Sleep is not wasted time. It is an essential process that allows the brain to keep learning, adapting, and growing throughout your life. In many ways, every night you are being updated into a better version of yourself, even though the transformation happens silently. So never underestimate the value of quality sleep. It is one of the greatest gifts you can give your brain as it continues to support you through every stage of life. If you enjoy videos exploring psychology, neuroscience, and the fascinating mysteries of the human mind, be sure to subscribe to the channel today. We upload new videos every day to help you discover and better understand yourself.